Preface of the Influence of Sea Power upon History, 1660 to 1783. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. The Influence of Sea Power upon History, 1660 to 1783, by Alfred Thayer, Mahan. Preface. The definite object proposed in this work is an examination of the general history of Europe and America, with particular reference to the effect of sea power upon the course of that history. Historians generally have been unfamiliar with the conditions of the sea, having as to it neither special interest nor special knowledge, and the profound determining influence of maritime strength upon great issues has consequently been overlooked. This is even more true of particular occasions than of the general tendency of sea power. It is easy to say in a general way that the use and control of the sea is and has been a great factor in the history of the world. It is more troublesome to seek out and show its exact bearing at a particular juncture, yet unless this be done, the acknowledgment of general importance remains vague and unsubstantial, not resting, as it should, upon a collection of special instances in which the precise effect has been made clear by an analysis of the conditions at the given moments. A curious exemplification of this tendency to slight the bearing of maritime power upon events may be drawn from two writers of that English nation which, more than any other, has owed its greatness to the sea. Twice, says Arnold in his History of Rome, has there been witnessed the struggle of the highest individual genius against the resources and institutions of a great nation, and in both cases the nation was victorious. For 17 years Hannibal strove against Rome, for 16 years Napoleon strove against England. The efforts of the first ended in Zama, those of the second in Waterloo. Sir Edward Creasy, quoting this, adds, "One point, however, of the similitude between the two wars has scarcely been adequately dwelt on, that is, the remarkable parallel between the Roman general, who finally defeated the great Carthaginian, and the English general who gave the last deadly overthrow to the French emperor. Scipio and Wellington both held for many years commands of high importance, but distant from the main theatres of warfare. The same country was the scene of the principal military career of each. It was in Spain that Scipio, like Wellington, successively encountered and overthrew nearly all the subordinate generals of the enemy, before being opposed to the chief champion and conqueror himself. Both Scipio and Wellington restored their countrymen's confidence in arms when shaken by a series of reverses, and each of them closed a long and perilous war by a complete and overwhelming defeat of the chosen leader and the chosen veterans of the foe. Neither of these Englishmen mentions the yet more striking coincidence that in both cases the mastery of the sea rested with the victor. The Roman control of the water forced Hannibal to that long perilous march through Gaul in which more than half his veteran troops wasted away. It enabled the elder Scipio, while sending his army from the Rhone on to Spain to intercept Hannibal's communications, to return in person and face the invader at the Trebia. Throughout the war, the legions passed by water unmolested and unwearied between Spain, which was Hannibal's base, and Italy, while the issue of the decisive battle of the Metaurus, hinging as it did upon the interior position of the Roman armies with reference to the forces of Hasdrubal and Hannibal, was ultimately due to the fact that the younger brother could not bring his succouring reinforcements by sea, but only by the land route through Gaul. Hence, at the critical moment, the two Carthaginian armies were separated by the length of Italy, and one was destroyed by the combined action of the Roman generals. On the other hand, naval historians have troubled themselves little about the connection between general history and their own particular topic, limiting themselves generally to the duty of simple chroniclers of naval occurrences. This is less true of the French than of the English, the genius and training of the former people leading them to more careful inquiry into the causes of particular results and the mutual relation of events. There is not, however, within the knowledge of the author any work that professes the particular object here sought, namely, an estimate of the effect of sea power upon the course of history and the prosperity of nations, as other histories deal with the wars, politics, social and economical conditions of countries, touching upon maritime matters only incidentally and generally unsympathetically. So the present work aims at putting maritime interests in the foreground, without divorcing them, however, from their surroundings of cause and effect in general history, but seeking to show how they modified the latter and were modified by them. The period embraced is from 1660, when the sailing ship era, with its distinctive features, had fairly begun, to 1783, the end of the American Revolution. While the thread of general history upon which the success of maritime events is strung is intentionally slight, the effort has been to present a clear as well as accurate outline. Writing as a naval officer in full sympathy with his profession, the author has not hesitated to digress freely on questions of naval policy, strategy, and tactics. But as technical language has been avoided, it is hoped that these matters, simply presented, will be found of interest to the unprofessional reader. A. T. Mahan, December 1889. End of Preface.